Hello everyone, welcome to Money Talks. My name is Brooks Page, and today we have Michael Dyar on the show. Michael's with Edward Jones here in Hartwell. And Michael, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Brooks. Nice to be here, buddy.
Yeah, me and Mike's been knowing each other a long time and in Kiwanis together, and I really appreciate you being on the show today.
Well, you're quite welcome.
So let's get started. Tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, how long you've been at Edward Jones, and that. Just give us a little background information.
Sure, be glad to. Of course, I graduated Clemson in 1980.
Oh, don't say that.
Yes, okay. I did.
Okay.
And grew up in Anderson. And when I graduated, I went into banking for about 17 years and moved to Florida. I know you were there for many years as well.
I know.
And then, I'd always wanted to do this type business. And then one day just made the change. My financial advisor had talked to me for several years and talked me into coming with Jones, and I haven't regretted it one bit.
Right.
It's been a great move.
Have you been in Hartwell the entire time at Edward Jones?
I moved to Hartwell 22 years ago in 1997 and opened an office for Edward Jones then, and basically built it from scratch, going out knocking on doors, meeting people every day, and inviting them to do business with Edward Jones.
Right. Still going strong today, I see.
Thank goodness, yes it is.
That's right.
It's been very good for me and my family.
Right. So there's a lot of different type of investments people can come to you to get. You got mutual funds, stocks. I'm going to let you talk about that. And there's lots of different ones. So talk about the main ones and talk about I know the returns, they vary, but talk about the different risk and the kind of the process people go through when they come to you, and just kind of give us a general overview.
Well, as far as products that we offer, we have a full quiver of products. They range anywhere from a money market account, CDs. So
the CDs, FDI insured,
yes, they are.
Bank CDs?
Yes, they are.
Okay.
And stocks, bonds, mutual funds, annuities. We pretty much offer just about everything except futures, and we don't do penny stocks.
Risky stuff.
Well, we just don't do that.
Right.
But what we try to do is a value-added process for our clients. We like to look at where they are now and where they want to be in the future, and we try to work up a plan to help get them there, and we use the different products in their portfolio mix to try to get them where they want to be.
Okay.
And a lot of it is, they're wanting to retire at some point in time, or they are retired.
Right.
And, getting them to retirement, we want to make sure they stay on track. Again, we find out where they are now. We try to assess their risk, because not everybody has the same risk tolerance, and we use those factors to try to get them to where they want to be.
Okay. So tell our audience different products, what a mutual fund is, what bonds are, what annuities are. Can you kind of give us a brief description of each of those?
Sure. And those things all form a basis. You don't want to put everything you've got into any one product. I know for many years people had just looked at CDs, and that was all that they would look at, because they felt like there was less risk of loss of principal there, and that's very true, because they're insured.
Right.
But to get to where you want to be, sometimes you have to take a little risk to get a better reward. And that's where your equities come into play, whether they be in individual stocks or whether you have them in mutual funds.
And mutual funds are a group of stocks?
Correct. They can be a group of stocks, a group of bonds, or a mixture of them. I like to look at them, when I do an analogy for people, I like to look at a swimming pool.
Mm-hmm.
And each one of the stocks or bonds that are in there are owned mutually by a number of people. And you actually own shares of that mutual fund. And the mutual fund is managed by a fund manager. And basically, he decides what comes in and what goes out of that pool. And the pool, of course, you're wanting it to expand. And as it does, your value grows. Mm-hmm. And sometimes there is, down markets, and you do have some contraction. But hopefully, with the number of investments that are in those funds, hopefully your downside is limited to some degree. Mm-hmm. But of course, with the number also, with the diversification, your upside is
so if one does good and none does bad, kind of balances itself out.
And hopefully over time you do make money with them.
Mm-hmm. So when somebody comes in to see you and sit down with you, they kind of you kind of get from them a risk tolerance if they want to take some little risk, or if they want to be real conservative. It depends on a lot of different variables, like maybe their age and that kind of thing. So you have some process that you do.
We do. With each client that comes in, we do want to get a good idea of what type of risks they're willing to take. Some people are very, very conservative, so that's where you trend for them. And of course, let them know that their upside's not going to be quite, what some folks may expect. And if you've got a moderate risk, then you're looking at, some ups and downs and that sort of thing. And if you're aggressive, that's fine as well. But realize you're going to have the
ups and downs,
the more roller coaster type ride. But hopefully, eventually, you'll get to where you want to be. Starting out here, over the years, you want to get to here.
Right. Annuities. A lot of people don't know what annuities are. They're very complex. So tell us the positives of annuities and the negatives and what to look out for, and tell us what that vehicle is, what that is.
Annuities are basically, number one, they're typically set up for tax deferral. Mm-hmm. And they're set up for guaranteed benefits or insured benefits. I don't like to say anything's guaranteed, but they have benefits that are insured. There are a number of different types of annuities. The basics, you've got an immediate annuity. Then you have a deferred annuity, and it can be a fixed rate type of annuity. You also have variable annuities. And with a variable annuity, what you're wanting is, number one, you want to have growth in the annuity, of course. You want to have to me, it makes a lot of sense to have an income benefit with that annuity that's guaranteed or insured. Mm-hmm. And you want to have a death benefit that's insured. Mm-hmm. So for a part of people's money, there's nothing wrong with having a good annuity.
Right.
So, but there again, you don't want to put all your money
in one place
into one thing like that, because it does have some things that kind of, I call it velvet handcuffing you.
Right.
Because if you're setting it up for an income stream later, you don't want to pull on that annuity before time. You want to have that income stream that you've got established. And then once you start taking that income stream, you really don't want to pull from the annuity. Mm-hmm. And most annuities that we do, they're very seldom annuitized.
Right.
So, like I said, most of them are set up with what we call a living benefit that you can take. And then if you ever had to, you could come in and take more principal away from it.
Right.
Whereas if you annuitize an annuity, then you've got a set payout, that's it. And if you need to get more money, you pretty well can't do it.
That's
you
right.
have to sell it to someone, and they'll pay you whatever they feel like the annuity's worth.
Okay. So earlier we talked a little bit about CDs, and when people talk about CDs, they think about banks.
Correct.
However, you do offer CDs. I think you have some different terms that y'all offer, longer terms, and your rates, are they usually normally better or about the same as banks, or?
That's a good question. They vary. We offer, I can look at the CDs we offer, and we can go 3 months and up to 5 or 6 years on them. And of course, usually, unless you've got something weird like an inverted interest rate, the higher rates are on the CDs that have a higher maturity date.
Right.
So.
Well, a lot of people like dealing with, in today's society, we have your cell phones and your computers and everything. A lot of people deal with online companies and investments. And of course, there's nothing wrong with that. But a lot of people like to feel more comfortable when they can come deal with somebody face to face, like your insurance agent. And then, of course, a lot of people like seeing their investment person face to face. So there's a lot of advantages to going to your office and talking to you face to face as compared to doing it on the internet, which is, I'm sure, okay too. But that's one thing I think that you offer as far as being an investment rep locally. It's like an insurance agent locally.
Correct. It is, again, a value-added proposition that we do. Of course, anybody can go online and buy mutual funds. They can buy individual stocks. They can do whatever they like. But one of our biggest goals is to help people stay on track and to make sure that they have the right things to get them where they want to be. With a lot of the things that's bought online, people a lot of times will question themselves. Mm-hmm. When things go down, that's when they start to question themselves. Lord knows they question me when things go down.
I bet they do.
And so, if they're doing it on their own, that's fine. If they've got the fortitude to handle it and not second guess themselves and realize they're carrying the full weight on their shoulders. Mm-hmm. With me, I feel like I help them carry some of the weight.
Mm. So if somebody's got a 401k or whatever, investment, mutual funds or whatever, and they want to get another somebody else to give them their opinion of it, can they bring their statement to you and let you look at it and let them give you their risk tolerance or what their long range plans might be, and you can kind of adjust it or look at it and see if you can offer them something better? Or what would they need to bring to you if they wanted to do that?
Well, if they're looking at seriously doing business with Edward Jones, then of course they need to bring in all their statements so that I can do a review of them. It's not a lot different from going into a doctor's office.
Right.
You go in there, they want a list of the medications that you take, mm-hmm. and they want to know what type things you've had done in the past. We're pretty much the same way with investments and helping people with their investments. We want to know what you have now, and we try to decide if that's suitable for you or not, mm-hmm. and we try to build you a plan to go forward based on those things.
Yeah, and like we talked earlier, diversification's key.
I think it's very much key. A great man once said, with diversification, sometimes you're not really happy.
Yeah.
But without it, you can be devastated.
Yeah, Never heard it
So my goal is to keep people from being devastated in their life.
Right, absolutely.
I used to keep a brick on my desk with a rubber band around it. Mm-hmm. And, people would ask, well, what is that brick? And I tell them, well, at some point in time, you're not going to be really happy with your investments. The markets are going to be down. And you're probably going to want to throw a brick through my window. And that's fine. Take this brick and the rubber band there, make sure you got a check underneath it. Yeah. Because that's probably the right time to be buying more investments when they're down.
Right, absolutely.
Buying more shares at a cheaper price.
Absolutely. Now, we all get these phone calls and we see it on TV all the time about these great returns you can get on this and that. And usually that's buyer beware. And if it sounds too good to be true, it usually is. So can you talk to us about a little bit about some of these people that might be offering 18%, 20%, 30%? And y'all do not do that, of course, but buyer beware. Tell our audience a little bit about what to be on the lookout for.
Well, I really think you summed it up. If it does sound too good to be true, it probably is. I've seen places many times offering very high interest rates, and sometimes those places
not around too long.
Well, it just doesn't happen that way.
Right.
So I like for my people to be realistic. I try to give them an idea of basically what they can try to expect, and it's not going to happen overnight either way. When I'm talking about averages, I'm looking at 5 to 10 year averages. So people that say, well, I'm going to try you for 6 months or a year, well, that's really not long enough.
That's right.
Because you got to look at it over time on anything.
Right. Now, does your company deal with structured settlements, like, people come in with a large sum of money and how to structure it those different ways and that kind of thing? Do y'all have anybody that does that for your company?
Well, we would do it.
Okay.
I would do it.
Okay.
And basically there again, you're looking at different types of investments for that sort of thing. A lot of times they will go into annuities for that sort of investment, and because it has to be structured, it has to have insurance on it to make sure things are paid out the way it should.
That's right. So can people come in your office and buy just one particular stock? Like, let's just say they want to buy so many shares of Walmart stock, or
they can.
They can.
Sure.
So they can. Is there? When you do it that way, is it? We don't want to talk about. Is the fee heavy, or is it? Is it?
Well, of course, Edward Jones charges.
Everybody's got to make money, but
Edward Jones does charge, and every product that's out there has a different type of fee or charge on it. We do commission-based type things, and we also do fee-based type. And I think quite a bit of times now, more and more, the brokerage firms are going more toward fee-based because they can offer a lot of different types of mutual funds or mutual fund companies, and really build a portfolio for people that would suit the purpose, rather than using one mutual fund company, getting break points on it, that sort of thing. And you mentioned stock. If someone comes in and wants to buy an individual stock, then I of course want to know what other stocks they own out there, and preferably, they're trying you with that one stock, and if it doesn't work out, they probably not be back.
Right.
So I like to try to, if I can, just for diversification purposes, try to get them 5 good stocks if they've never been in the market before.
Right.
Really, if they've never been in the market before, I really like to start them out with good quality mutual funds. But if they're wanting to buy individual stocks, I do like to try to do what I call a 5-pack and get them in different, areas, whether it be consumer staples, manufacturing, financial, that sort of thing, to give them diversification, not only with the stocks, but also with the different industries and so forth that are out there.
Right. So how's the market now? I think it's, from what I see, is doing pretty good.
The market does what the market does.
Right. That's right.
There's a lot of geopolitical things going on out there now that can sway it one way or another. And we're still, for the time being, a capitalistic society, and we're going to be prone to have ups and downs in our economy.
Right.
And we're going to have boom times, and we're going to have recessions.
Right.
And my job is to help people not get too overly enthusiastic during the great times or the good times, and to try to keep them to hold the course during the tough times when we are in a recession or just down markets. So
it's got to plane out over time. It can't, like real estate, it can't go up forever and ever and ever.
No, and people thought that was going to happen too. Back in the early 2000s, I was in the business then, and everybody thought tech stocks was the big thing.
Right.
And everybody was so excited about it wasn't funny. And that was before everybody got involved with their own computer stuff. They were starting to get involved in it, but they were just all excited about it. Those things were going through the roof. Mm-hmm. You can look at charts at them back then. Mm-hmm. And of course, most of them took some very big hits.
Right.
01 and 02, that era. So fads don't go on forever.
Right.
So it's better just to keep, to me, a level head, buy good companies, buy mutual funds that are made up of good companies, variable annuities that have good quality mutual funds in them. And you mentioned annuities. Let me kind of explain a little bit more about that real quick. With a variable annuity, you have mutual funds inside of a variable annuity. And then you have what I call insurance wrappers around that. The insurance wrapper says that if a person passes away, then they will have a death benefit.
Right.
And the death benefit is typically either the market value or the amount that they invested, whichever is greater.
Right.
So let's say a person puts $100,000 in an annuity. It's at 120. They pass away. How much are they going to get? To get 120.
120.
Okay. Let's say they put in 100. The annuity drops to 90. They pass away, and they've got a guaranteed or insured death benefit. Mm-hmm. How much are they going to get?
A whole
They're
amount.
going to get the 100,000 back.
Right.
So that's one reason people buy annuities, along with the tax deferral aspect. Not tax-free, but tax-deferred.
Yeah.
And when you start pulling out of an annuity, you pay taxes on the interest or the earnings first.
Right. Right.
And then you when the principal starts paying out, then you don't pay the taxes if it's not inside.
Yeah, well, thanks for explaining that, because I know a lot of people don't know what annuities are and what, they know a little bit about mutual funds and stuff, but annuities are different.
Well, yeah, an annuity is, a variable annuity is mutual funds with an insurance wrapper. And you can also add things like step-up income rider, things of that nature. So,
right. Do y'all offer long-term health care, or do y'all not get into that type
we
of
do
insurance?
offer that. We feel that is very important. We offer life insurance. We offer long-term care insurance. Excuse me. And we also offer hybrid type policies that have life insurance and long-term care insurance connected with it.
Right. Right.
So we're all about protecting your money and protecting your legacy.
Right. Yeah. A lot of people don't think about that long-term health insurance.
No, unfortunately, they don't. But it could be a devastating thing
Absolutely.
for people at some point in time. And a lot of them are seeing now their parents are needing it, and they're starting to think more and more about it.
Right. It's one of those things you don't think about until it's too late and you do need it, right?
Correct.
So,
That does happen, unfortunately.
that's right.
Or there are events that you might have waited too long and the premium could be, fairly high, or you have things that could,
Right.
that happen to you physically that could make it very expensive or even unattainable.
Right. Okay. Well, Michael, thank you for being on the show. I really appreciate it.
Well, you're welcome, Brooks.
If you can let our audience know how to get in contact with you, and so if they ever need you, they can just pick up the phone and call you.
Sure. I'm at on East Franklin Street. My office is right beside Arby's. I've been there for 22 years, and my number is 706-376-0748. And I would like to share a little bit about Edward Jones. I am really proud of the company.
Ahead. Go right ahead.
There's always something worth sharing. But this past year, well, in March actually, we were voted or rated the top-ranked brokerage firm in the U.S.
Oh,
that was as of March, and that was with the J.D. Powers survey. For about 20 some odd years, we have been ranked one of the 100 best companies to work with.
Really?
And that makes you kind of proud when you work with a company like that.
That's great.
So, and we go back a long way. We started in the mid 1920s. Edward Jones was actually the founder of our firm.
Okay.
And his son Ted took over the firm in the 1950s.
Okay.
And he was actually the one that had the vision to make the firm a partnership. And only the people that worked with Edward Jones can own Edward Jones.
Oh, okay.
So we're not publicly traded or anything like that. And that was one of the major reasons that I opted to go with this firm.
Right.
I like that concept.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So
but anyway, I did want to tell a little bit about the firm. One reason I like to work with them.
Yeah, glad you did. Okay. A very strong company.
Very strong. We've actually, when I started 22 years ago, we had maybe 3,200 financial advisors. We have grown that to over 17,000 financial advisors. And we're in the U.S. and also Canada. Mm-hmm. And we have grown to over $1 trillion in assets under management, making us one of the largest financial firms out there.
That is great.
And we've done that by not acting big.
Right.
We're a very big firm, but we've gotten there by not acting big.
Right. I understand.
So,
all right. Well, thanks again, Mike. I appreciate you being on the show.
Well, you're certainly welcome.
Yes,
I enjoyed it, Brooks.
All right. Thank you. And I want to thank Wes Bailey and the Hart Communications, and I will see you next time on Money Talks.